What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 80 of Hobby Hotline, the hobby's only live call-in show. We are back from the National, and happy National Baseball Card Day, I guess I should say to everybody. But as always, my name is Drew. Here with me today is Chris and Logan. What's going on, guys?
Hey, guys.
Hey, everybody.
How's everybody doing today? Hanging in there?
doing good. It's
Still
Saturday.
recovering from the National, so.
I think a lot of people are. What's up, those back pages? How's it going? Rex, how's everybody doing today? Hope it's a good one, Rex. You got the show on in the shop. Nice. Are you guys participating in the National Baseball Card Day? I know today, guys, if you are unaware, it is the National Baseball Card Day. So a lot of hobby shops around the country and some of the Major League Baseball ballparks, it looks like, are doing some giveaways and some stuff like that. I don't know too much about it, but it's always cool when you can get something a little extra. And some of these sets can, command a little value. They look pretty nice this year, actually.
Looks nicer than the Topps flagship. I'll give them that.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think they look great. I haven't seen too many, but it looks like they do have a couple of giveaways at stadiums also, but they've got the set's only 30 cards. So, small little set, but it's cool. I mean, I think it's awesome. And, right after the National, it's something cool as I think everybody takes a little time to regroup and kind of set up for the rest of the year.
Yeah, my feet are killing me still. I mean, it's been a week and I'm still recovering, foot wise.
Yeah, my neck's finally started getting back into alignment after spending 5 days hunched over flower boxes. So it's not easy when you're 6 feet 3 inches tall.
No.
So I envy you shorter people.
Absolutely. Well, guys, please call in and let us know today as we give probably do a little bit of a national recap, some of the stuff that we saw, but we'd love to hear what you guys saw at the National. If you were at the National, if you saw anything, call in, let us know. Let us know your experiences, what you thought of everything. If you saw anything cool, we'll put the link right here in the chat for you guys. So just call in with any questions or comments that you would like. But so Logan, what all did you think of the National? I personally, compared to the last couple of years, I thought it was awesome. Like, I had the most fun that I'd ever had at one.
Well, for me, I think it was the best National I've ever had. I met so many people that I've just known on social media. And of course, I got to catch up with old friends, and I gave a lot of people a lot of hugs. So it was a lot of fun. Val and I, we hit every booth asking for NASCAR cards, and we found a good bit of stuff. We were actually amazed this year on how much there was actually out there.
Nice, very nice.
So this was my 14th National.
Wow.
And Wednesday and Thursday of the National were unlike anything that I've ever seen at a National. It was a mob scene.
Yes.
And
As soon as the doors open, man. I mean, normally Wednesdays were a little, it's move-in day.
Yeah.
You would think it's a little slow, but dealers couldn't get set up quick enough to just go to another table.
Yeah. I think it was the explanation that I've heard from a lot of dealers and a lot of folks was on Wednesday and Thursday, a lot of the new money guys that have come into the hobby over the last year and a half.
Yeah.
That's when they came in. And they came in, they had their prearranged deals with they dropped their $50, $100, $200,000, got their cards. And then by Friday and Saturday, they were out of town.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Kevin makes a comment as Wednesday the new Thursday at the National, and it easily could be, man. I mean, with the way it is now, I think so. I don't think there's really not a move-in day. I mean, we were moving in, but I mean, I was making a ton of. I know me personally, I was making a ton of deals while we were moving in.
Yeah, so. We were there at 8:00 in the morning on Wednesday. and people were moving in, and it was almost like, it was like a regular show almost. I mean, within just a few hours, everybody was pretty much set up, and by Wednesday afternoon, it looked like it was like a normal show. And then, of course, they opened up the doors Wednesday night, and it was like fire ants coming in the door when they let the VIPs in.
Marauding hordes coming in, and
they were running. It was really amazing to see.
Oh, it was crazy. I'm putting together the video now, and 2 years ago when we were at the National, I had a video, and I took a video in the exact same spot and set it from 2 years apart, and it was right when the doors opened. And if you see the difference in this year compared to that video, I'm going to have it out this week. It's insane. Like the mob of people, the swarm from the very beginning. As AO Rhino asked, kids with big cars surprise you guys. That's one thing that I love seeing. So many kids coming up with these briefcases full of just monsters. It's like stuff I would die to have in my collection. Let's see here, Kevin Jones.
The other thing that I had never seen before at a National, but were the entourages.
There's a lot of those.
I've never seen that before. So a lot of these new money guys, they come in, the $50,000, $100,000, $200,000. I think it was more important for them to have it documented.
Yes.
So the camera crews, that was something that I've never seen before because, got to put it on social media.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I mean, there were tons of camera crews, tons of people that I hadn't heard of, that know anything about, but it was cool. And then there were some people, the regulars that you expect to see, but definitely a lot of entourages this year. A lot of boom mics hanging out over cameras.
Yeah, there was a lot of deal documentation.
By Friday, they were all gone.
Yeah.
And by Friday, Saturday, and even in the Friday, it was just, the crowds were just like any other normal Friday at the National.
Yeah, Saturday for sure was just Saturday, like a normal day.
Yeah. And then Sunday was just Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday, it actually came back down to earth a bit, I thought. Sunday was a pretty slow day. I think everybody was kind of spent out or maxed out at the credit cards. Had time to go home. Either way.
I actually wound up leaving early after our live edition of Hobby Hotline on Sunday afternoon. I was going to go to lunch and then come back and then say goodbye to everybody. But then I just decided, I got a 2-day long drive back to Delaware. I might as well start getting a head start. So I just took off from Rosemont. So
nice. Yeah, Michael brings up a good point. The big regional shows that are going on. The one in Tampa. I'm actually down here in Tampa right now. Michael and I will be at that Collector Con in September as well. So I'm actually going back down to Tampa for that show. But it is awesome to see. Like we were just talking before the air today. You've got the Dallas shows that are going on. Hickory today in North Carolina has a huge show that's going on. You're really starting to see these regional shows, like Michael's saying, getting a lot bigger. And like the Hickory show today, I know Val from Hobby Hotline, he's up there. My partner's there. Dallas shows keep getting bigger and bigger. I mean, I think this is something that I like the momentum that the National brought, and I think it's going to bring it to a lot of other shows in addition to just the National.
Yeah, shows are back, and I'm glad, and they're back in a big way, and I'm glad to see that because I have really missed being able to go to shows and socialize with people. It's a nice thing to see.
I think the question now has to be asked, now that the National's over, and everybody's comparing it to the mythical 91 show. This was the biggest since 91.
Yeah.
Where does the hobby go from here now? Are we following the same trajectory as 91? I think everybody agrees that the peak of the junk wax era was that 91 National.
Yeah.
And then we started to steadily start going down from there.
Well, one thing I do
Where do we go now?
One thing I do wish is if there was a lot of video footage from that 91 National. Yeah. You know, we could have used the entourages then.
Entourages.
Yeah. I wish they had them 10 years ago or in 30 some years ago, so we could have seen that. But you know, I think it kickstarts it in a good way. I mean, I've seen nothing but I've had more activity since the Nationals over than I'm used to seeing. I'm seeing a lot more movement than I have before, and I'm seeing a lot of people that went to the National as one of their first shows, planning a lot of other shows. I've got a bunch of people that I met that hit the National, and now they're planning Dallas, and then they're planning Tampa. I mean, I don't think we're going to see a big drop or anything. I actually think it's going to kind of be the opposite. I think we're going to see a pretty strong surge here. Now, obviously not every single card like it was a year ago, probably, but I don't think we're on like a down slope, if you will, like in 91, just because I think we're in a little bit different time product-wise.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a downslope. I think it's probably you're going to see it probably even keel for a while. I think prices are going to stabilize. I don't know that we're going to see, you know, any of these crazy prices, but, you know, of course, prices have already gotten crazy. So I don't know how much more crazier they can get. But I think it's just going to stabilize for a while, and I think we'll be good. I don't think it's really going to go down. There's a lot of excitement in the hobby. I mean, I know I'm as excited about it now as I think I've ever been, and I've been doing it for 50 years. So I'm really excited about the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think it's going to level off a bit. I don't think we're going to see the kind of exponential growth that we've seen in the last year and a half. But does that leveling off continue over the long term, or does it start to gradually start declining? Well, that remains to be seen.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to have a dramatic drop. If it does anything, it's just going to go down just slowly, maybe. Yeah. But I really don't expect it to do it that much.
No, I don't. I mean, I think like you guys both said, I think you'll see some leveling off. I think you're seeing it now. Some base cards and things that were in incredible high demand 6 months ago, not as much now. You're seeing market corrections on some of these things, but then you're seeing other things blow up. You saw the Herbert sell for $550K that was pulled at the National. I mean, it's pretty amazing that Herbert deal. They pulled that card at the National. It was literally sold in 48 hours at the National, $550K. Pretty amazing if you guys didn't see it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to I don't see a downslope. I think we're just in that level off area. I think football kicking off this week. We're about to start getting NFL games. I actually think the hobby is going to take a pretty strong turn once football gets on the field. I think this is going to be a football season like we've never seen personally.
Yeah, because it's 17 games now, so.
Absolutely.
So what did you see as far as, did you see a lot of museum pieces at the National? I mean, what kind of things did you see that were notable to you?
My favorite table was whoever it was, and I hope you watched the show, but the dude who had all the Dwight Schrute autographs from Rainn Wilson. You're my hero. That was the coolest table I saw all week. Dude, so many autograph pieces from The Office. I'm a diehard Office fan. So, I wanted every single piece he had, and he had about 50 of Dwight Schrute autographs, Rainn Wilson stuff on just some really weird things. And, you see that you go to heritage auctions, pristine auctions, and you see the 1800s cards that are graded better than some of my tops that I pull out of packs. You can go see the museum stuff. But I saw a lot of people that were using their displays as putting a massive piece in and then surrounding it with a lot of the smaller stuff. Then at the end of the week, those big pieces were still there, but they moved a ton of the small stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. Michael Ham saying Mosaic in September for football. Yep. And yeah, there are specific events that push the hobby, Michael, and the Nationals one of them for sure. But personally, I think the hype with this football season, we haven't really gotten a chance. There's never really been that much hype about anything until now for football. I mean, you're looking at this year's football. I've never seen the demand for it. I've never seen the hype for it. What's going on, Texas Card Dude? But what do you guys expect when football season kicks off? Do you think that that's going to help push it up? What do you guys see?
I think it's going to push it up some. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how much it's going to be, but I think it's going to help. It's not going to hurt. That's for sure.
Well, each sport is pretty much a year-round hobby anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With football card releases coming in the middle of summer.
Right.
I think the difference is this draft class. You have, I think, for only the second or third time, 3 quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3 in the draft. And this is pretty much a quarterback-driven hobby. Football cards are a football quarterback-driven hobby.
Now, do you think we'll see that start to change this year? Do you think that starts to do you think we'll ever see that spot where we start to get beyond football being a just quarterback driven league? Because as the hobby expands, or is it just going to continue to be quarterbacks and everybody else?
That's hard to say.
Right.
I don't think I'm the right guy to answer that because I don't collect football cards.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah.
How many wide receivers and running backs are as hot as a quarterback right now?
Right. Yeah. Well,
much less tight ends or defensive players.
Yeah. Well, Logan, you had asked, what are some of the craziest things you saw at the National? One of the craziest things I actually ended up seeing, I didn't realize how crazy it was until a couple of days later. I was standing right next to the guy when he bought 4 Jacob Eason 101s, I believe, for like a couple $100,000 in cash right there. And of course, 2 days later, Carson Wentz goes down. So, I'm looking at him like he's a moron when I'm watching it. I'm like, what are you doing? And then 48 hours later, that dude just had a bargain and a half. So that was one of my favorite things I saw. But guys, please, if you did go to the National this year, please call in and let us know.
Yeah, we could use some calls right now. So
yeah,
I'm not on my knees, but I have my hands folded. Please give us a call.
Yeah, let us know how the National was, if you experienced what you guys saw, or if there's anything else going on that you'd like to talk about. As we mentioned, what's up?
So what about after show events? What kind of events did you guys go to, if any?
Well, I went to the Onyx special event, which was really cool. It was Chad Ochocinco was there, Frank Gore, Randy Johnson. That was fun. I had a couple vintage breaks deals that we were doing. Went to a couple of trade nights. It seemed like every night in my hotel, it wasn't an official trade night, but if you walk down to the bar or the lobby at any time after about 11 o'clock, there's a couple hundred people in there just trading all night long. So hit that up a couple of times, but nothing too huge.
Yeah, Topps had their Q&A. It was, I think, on Thursday night. And it was pretty much your typical Topps Q&A. There were people asking about product questions, various things. They did their trivia giveaway, and of course, at the end of the night, they gave away an autographed, and I'll put it up here, everybody can see it. Luis Roberts, out of 150 autograph cards, they gave one to everybody that was there.
Wow.
So that was nice, and they always do that every year. They give away something special when you walk out the door. But it was nice to see all those guys from Topps, and it was very fun. Of course, they have food and they have an open bar, and it's a great thing to go to. Now this year, what they did was, in in years past, if I was to get up there first, I would sign up for all of my friends. But this year, you could only sign up for yourself, and you had to show a photo ID. So they were actually really patrolling that thing pretty hard, and there was, like I said, only 150 people.
So what was it from the Topps Q&A? Since I actually didn't get a chance to attend, Chris, I don't know if you did, but what was your biggest takeaway? Were there any, was it the same old, issues that we've been having, or was there any new stuff that you saw people asking,
Well, it was, people talking about the website, talking about cards that never appeared in packs, basically the same thing, I would say. I mean, I'm sure some people would have a different take on it, but as far as I'm concerned, since I really don't collect any Topps products per se, it was just a fun event for me to be there and hang out with my friends and, just listen to what they had to say.
Sure. So so obviously you're a big NASCAR guy, and how was it to chase something like NASCAR at this national compared to previous shows or maybe other card shows that you've been? Because it's a small, I mean, it's not small anymore. NASCAR is a huge market, but compared to everything else, you don't see it near as much in the card world. How was it as a collector chasing something, an off sport, one of the secondary, tertiary ones, if you will?
Well, in years past, we haven't seen a whole lot of NASCAR. I mean, there'll be some there. You'll see some dealers that buy or get some NASCAR when they buy a big collection of other sports, and they're just trying to get rid of it or whatever. But this year, we found a lot of graded NASCAR, a lot of authenticated autographs, memorabilia. It was probably the most NASCAR we have ever seen at a national, prior to this year. It was incredible to see. There were some big cards. We saw a 2000 SP Dale Earnhardt.
Wow.
It was a graded card. It was graded a 10, and they were asking for $5,000, but I don't think anybody bought on that. I would think it's like a $2,500 card.
Right.
So I think they probably went home with it. But yeah, just overall for NASCAR, it was a great show for that. Val and I had a good time. We saw a lot of things in dollar boxes, and like I said, we saw some high end stuff. It was really nice.
Good deal, because that's one thing. Most of my collections and stuff are odd stuff, Panther things, different East Carolina players. My collections are mostly weird stuff. So the national normally is where I'm just buying stuff to trade, to move later, to do something like that. But this year I was actually surprised at how much stuff I was able to find and how much I actually bought for my collection. I saw a lot of people say that, some of the pricing was tough and everything, and some of the sticker prices were absurdly high on cards, sure. But I got a ton of great deals out of it. I came home, spent a ton of money, but actually was very happy with the deals that I got.
Yeah, I didn't spend a ton of money, but I feel like I got, good value for what I spent. Yeah. I did buy the biggest ticket item I bought was a 1998 Upper Deck Road to the Cup Dale Earnhardt autograph. Nice. And I actually got that thing slabbed while I was there because PSA was running a contest and they were giving away $50,000 in free grades, which free grades at the national. So, the minimum price was $250 per grade. So you can average that out real quick. But I did win 2 free grades, nice. To them a $500 value. So I did get that card slabbed. I'll show it real quick. It's a foil card. So that you know how foil cards are, they're kind of condition sensitive, but that's the card I picked up. So that was my big ticket item for the national right there.
That's awesome. Chris, did you get anything nice? At your 14th?
Yeah, I just spent 5 days just trolling dollar boxes. I did find one table that had a lot of late 90s inserts. Mm-hmm. So I was able to knock some cards off, but I was really looking for early 90s Donruss Elite inserts. And it wasn't until day 5, that Sunday morning, that I actually found a table that had some.
Wow.
And I picked up a pair of 92 Elites, a Kirby Puckett, and a Howard Johnson for $75. So
Nice. Nice. You guys
only
were going.
2 Elites that I found in 5 days.
Wow. Yeah, that's the one thing I was about to say. I think we were at the National from the second it opened until the second it closed, and I don't think I hit every table. I tried to, but I don't think I saw half the floor. I mean, at least it feels like I did. Every time you go back, it looked different. Everything was, it was mind blowing to me. But Logan, I wanted to ask you a question real quick, and it was something that came across my social media the other day, and there's been so much hype, and everyone's on the F1 bandwagon right now. A lot of Formula One interest, a lot of people really getting into it. Has that helped the NASCAR market at all, or has that pulled collectors that were maybe watching NASCAR into F1? Have you seen any, shift and movement along those lines?
I think it may have helped NASCAR a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because we would go around looking at tables and we would ask people, "Hey, do you have any NASCAR?" And they go, "Yeah, I got some," and they would show us F1 cards. so we would say, "Yeah, thank you, but we're not interested in that." But we did see a lot of Formula One. There was a lot of high-end cases available for sale. I think it like Blowout. We saw, it was like, I think it was I'm trying to remember. It's a Topps F1 Dynasty case for like $14,000 or some kind of crazy money. And then there was like a case of Chrome for like $7,000 or something like that. So those prices were strong. And we also saw like Lewis Hamilton Sapphire. I think it's out of 5. And the guy was asking $50,000 for that card. So I thought that was crazy. I thought that was pretty crazy myself because I'm a NASCAR guy. I'm used to getting my NASCAR fix for a reasonable price. And when you start seeing prices like that, it's like, whoa, that's way out of my league.
That's kind of what I was asking, because that's what was weird to me is that for NASCAR and everything, you had a big bump a couple of years ago with Haley Deegan, and once they really started putting Prism and everything out, but the F1 hype kind of came out of nowhere, and the prices have just skyrocketed. It's mind blowing to me, but I didn't know how if it had affected the NASCAR market at all.
Like I said, I think it has. I mean, and you have to think that 4 months ago, I would say a lot of people didn't even know who Lewis Hamilton was, and now everybody knows who Lewis Hamilton is.
If you said Max Verstappen to somebody 2 months ago, half the people would say, "Bless you."
They'd be going, "Yeah, that's right." They'd be going, "Yeah."
The thing with Formula One is that nobody seems to watch it. I mean, if you look at their TV ratings, they're still getting less than 1 million viewers for a race. So is there some kind of disconnect here? We have a sport that I think that not that many people watch, but on the other hand, their cards seem to be hot.
Right. Yeah. They don't seem to watch it, but they have to have it.
They have to have it. Is it because it's not necessarily Formula One cards, but it's Topps Chrome cards?
Yeah.
It could be. And it could be also FOMO as well.
Yeah.
On some of this.
Oh, I definitely think it is. And those back pages does bring up a good point that, the soccer revolution could lead people trying to discover different things, obviously, which would move to F1. And it looks like that's what, Panini was chasing after as well. They hit soccer hard and they found the next thing with F1. The biggest problem that I've had with all of it is they got to fix that factory that's packing those boxes. I don't know if you guys saw, but every serial numbered card in Topps Chrome is messed up on the back from the stamp. And you're seeing tons of autographs and the parallels not show up, but then you see like the God box that you saw last week had 18 printing plates in it. So
yeah, and Topps touched on that in the Topps Q&A.
really,
They're actually using a new printer, which is in Italy. I mean, it's not even here in the States, and they had some kind of mechanical issue with the machine that stamps all the serial numbers on the cards, and it left that mark on back of each of those cards. And also, it looks like they've got some collation issues as well.
major.
Yeah,
Texas.
Everybody, all the printers here in the United States are I think pretty much booked solid and running 24/7. So they looked to someone, not in the States, and
probably hadn't done trading cards before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, this was definitely a new operation. You could tell from the different serial number. It's even a different stamp. It's not even the same stamp for serial numbers. You'd think they'd try and keep it the same throughout the sport. Yeah, but you don't see that. It's completely different. As Texas Card Dude says, yeah, I do think the Netflix show helped a lot, and a lot of people probably do watch F1 online. I personally haven't watched too much of it, but I enjoy watching this market kind of materialize out of thin air almost.
Well, going back to F1 and the competition standpoint, I mean, usually the way that it works in F1 is one of the two guys that are on the front row is going to win the race, and they usually jump out in front, and there's like no lead changes. Mm-hmm. You can't block. It's just, to me, it's just not that exciting. I mean,
I think it has to do a lot with the aerodynamics of the car, and I think there's going to be a new F1 car next year that hopes to fix a lot of that. So, but yeah, I mean, if you want to watch a Formula One race, whoever gets that first corner wins.
Yep, that's it.
And as long as they don't blow a tire, or blow out their engine, because there's no overtaking.
Yeah, and like I said, you can't block. It's not like NASCAR where you can block. Rubbing is racing, and that's the appeal to me for NASCAR, and you just don't have that in Formula One.
So if that we're talking about it right now, do you think this formula? There's Topps has already put out. I saw they dropped a preview for another edition of F1 Dynasty. They're actually putting out, I believe, at the end of this year, but it will have been like 8 months, not even a full year, since the previous edition came out.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys think that Topps is going to oversaturate the market? Val and I were talking about that, and we think that if they don't watch it, they very well may oversaturate the market.
It feels like it to me because we're talking about the size.
Yeah. I mean, how many Formula One fans are there really?
Yeah.
And how much and how much of these cards? You said they're printing them in Italy. How much of these cards are staying in Italy?
Yes.
And how much of these are coming to the States?
Well, I will say one thing that I was trying to find at the National, but I couldn't, was a lot of F1 cards. So I do think a lot of them are staying overseas. I know a lot of purchases that I've had off of eBay, I've been shipping overseas. But this, the global printing company over in Italy, I don't know who they're using, but here in the States, we all know Cartamundi, GCI, they're slammed. So they've got this new company. I don't know. They're pushing out, it looks like, with a base Topps now, which I actually like the design of. It looks nice, but it looks like they've got a base Topps coming out, Dynasty. I don't know. It seems like we're about to get a really big year from F1, but it's one of those things that's it's just weird to me because you never, like we said, I don't watch it too much, so I never really hear about it. I never see too much about it, but here it is. It just keeps getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not a big fan, but it's very collectible now for like I said, whatever reason. It's just not for me. I'm not falling for if you want to call it a hype. I'm not going for that right now. I'm sticking with what I know and buying what I know and buying what I like. I'm just not getting into that.
Yeah.
So, so what about? Did you guys? And there was a lot of autograph guests at the National. Did you guys get any autographs from anybody? I know I did not.
I'm not really an autograph guy.
Normally I do, at least one person, but this year I didn't. I actually skipped the autograph line, so I did not get any this year. Normally it's something that I chase, but the line was too long. There was a couple that I wanted to go get, but then I saw the lines, and my time was more valuable going somewhere else.
Absolutely, that's the way I looked at it. I thought about the only one I actually thought about was Hulk Hogan. I know that sounds kind of weird from a NASCAR guy.
Yeah.
But I've always liked Hulk Hogan, and I kind of wanted to meet him and get his autograph, but like I said, the lines were just too long, and I was just unwilling to wait and actually pay the money too.
Yeah, that was my biggest thing, was the line and the money. It was just, it felt I could find more value, and there was more better stuff at the show elsewhere. So the autograph line, I honestly forgot about most of the time. I didn't look at probably the entire list. I'm normally, if I'm chasing autographs, it's either going to be a Super Hall of Famer or it's going to be an odd East Carolina guy that only matters to me. So, that's just not my guy. And as 1 Million Cups Project says, a lot of the same autograph signers will be at the Chicago Spectacular show next month for less money. So, it was just too expensive. Like, I really wanted to go get the guy from Oklahoma's autograph. Say hi, bud. Say hi. There's Jude saying hi.
Hey, Jude.
Done in a minute. Sorry, guys, down in Florida visiting the folks. But, wow. Texas Car Dude says viewership for this season's first 9 races in F1, 36% up compared from 2019. So they're getting a lot of watching,
but it's
I guess.
Still under 1 million viewers.
Right.
I mean, it's still 928,000 viewers a race.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot less than NASCAR, or any other motorsport.
But I mean, it is around the same, I believe. Those are probably around the same numbers as WWE nowadays, I would assume. That's probably around wrestling numbers, which has a pretty strong market, and seems to be getting stronger. You had, of course, the announcement at the National, we get some AEW cards soon as well. So, I don't know. That is 900 and under 1 million enough to carry something? I mean, it has before. It's carried wrestling to a pretty strong spot.
Yeah, I don't keep up with the ratings, so I honestly couldn't speak to that. But I'm glad to see the viewership's up. I guess a lot of that has to do with, the pandemic, people being home, and of course people collecting the cards now. So I'm sure that's really helped.
Well, Liberty Media is Liberty Media is the owner of Formula One.
Yeah.
They're really putting a lot of money into marketing, both with like the Netflix series and trading cards.
Yeah.
So give them credit for that. But I mean, it's still a niche sport with a niche audience. It does have a very good demographic compared to other niche sports with niche audiences. But it's still It's still a niche sport.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting to see. I mean, the demand for it was crazy. At our booth, I know whenever I was manning the tables, I had 2 F1 cards out that I had for sale that sold in about 10 minutes. And then the rest of the weekend, I was getting questions from a ton of people. And every F1 card that I saw was gone. Every F1 card that I saw that was there was gone the next second. When I turned back around, it was pretty crazy to see at the National. I was pretty surprised. The guys, please do call in and join the show if you went to the National or if you didn't and you got something that you got a question about. Call in and join the show. We got the link in the chat for you.
So did any of you guys hang out at the Panini booth at all? Like watching people bust open silver packs or the redemptions or anything like that?
Chris, did you at all?
No, and in fact, now that I think about it, I still have my VIP redemption card that I never redeemed. Oops.
Yeah, I did that when I got my VIP pack. I actually bought a VIP pass like months and months ago, just in case, because I have a friend that helps me. I help him, and he gets me dealer passes. But that was my backup. So actually, on Wednesday morning, I actually sold my VIP pass for what I paid for it and got to keep the goodies. So I actually liked that. That was nice. Went to the Panini booth, and they were doing, they had cards there that you could redeem for your unused redemptions or unredeemed redemptions, and the line for that was hideous. I had a couple of redemptions I wanted to try to redeem because they had some really nice NASCAR cards there that I would like to have gotten, but it was just like the autograph line. The line was so long that I was just unwilling to wait that long because I wanted to go look at stuff on the floor. I didn't want to sit in line for 2, 3, 4 hours just to try to get a redemption. I'll just have to deal with that online.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was. That same with the autograph, same with Panini. I stopped by the booth. I made sure I went and said hey to everybody that I knew there and stopped for a little bit. And if I ever saw them, busting some wax, I'd stop and look. But like you said, all of the specific stuff, like the redemptions, any of that, the lines were too long. Like they were just so long, and you couldn't even see where half of them ended, and I just can't take up all my time for that.
No, it wasn't worth it. I heard one guy, and I don't know if this is true or not, and it's not trying to be a knock on Panini at all because I love Panini, but one guy said that he waited in line for redemptions for like 4 hours and was getting close to the front, and he said they closed the redemptions. And like I said, I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what I kind of heard somebody talking about while I was over in the Panini area. So like I said, I don't know if that's true, but if that is true, that kind of stinks.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. We've got a question in the chat about kids going to school and unmasked adults. Okay, I guess we'll touch on that. I knew there'd probably be something about it, but what did you guys think about the safety of the event, everything beyond that? Because I personally, I've been vaccinated, all that stuff, but I thought that they did a good job. I was expecting it to be a lot worse. I'll put it that way. I was expecting it to be a lot more hectic. I thought they did a pretty decent job.
Well, I think the NSCC committee did a great job.
Yeah.
There wasn't a mask mandate there, but I would say, and I'm sure you guys probably are thinking the same thing, there was probably about 50-50 on the masks.
Yeah.
I wore one for a while, and I started seeing a lot of other people not, and I'm vaccinated, so I didn't really wear a mask for the rest of the show. I was with Val, and he hasn't got all his shots yet, so he was wearing a mask. But I think it was kind of 50-50.
Yeah. I'm vaccinated. I chose not to wear a mask. I did notice a lot of the kids were wearing masks. More than the adults, which but as far as we haven't heard any outbreaks among collectors. I know the Lollapalooza Music Festival was the same weekend, and watching the local Chicago news, that was the big story. You either had to prove that you were vaccinated or wear a mask, and that hasn't turned out to be a super spreader event either. So, thumbs up.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. And Ziggy asked if we watched Luca Tiger Braun's video, the owner of Coffee Breakers. I have not seen that yet, but I've heard a lot of people talking about it. I've heard there's a lot of stirring the pot rumors going on right now that, the main stages and stuff like that could be changed. Talk of, reformatting the National down the road. There's a lot of new people in charge. So I'll be interested to see what the National's like next year, as opposed to what it was this year. But that's going to depend on where the hobby is, I think. But it was, interesting.
I don't know if you guys have ever were at the National in Atlantic City 5 years ago, but it's a lot bigger facility than Rosemont. And it's also rectangular, and it's not like there's like a ramp and you go to a separate compartment where the group breakers are. There's another separate room for, it's all one room. So there should be plenty of room for multiple stages.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody at the NSCC is listening, but do something for the podcasters and streamers.
Well, I think the media. I think a media row is probably one of the smartest things they could do. And if there's something that I would suggest they do, I mean, for one thing, we kind of touched on it earlier. All those entourages and everything. If you want to pull and not have 500 camera crews on the floor at once, maybe get some people down into a row, give them a booth where they could do their thing. Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, I think Val said he heard that they were looking at for next year having a separate area for the social media and influencers and things like that. Kind of like what they were doing for the breakers.
Yep.
So that's going to be nice. And if so, I mean, I can foresee Hobby Hotline possibly having a table there. So I think that would really be cool.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, Ziggy says one good suggestion was to move the breaker pavilion to a quiet location. I kind of like that idea, but at the same time, I thought they did a good job of. I didn't think the breaker in the main stage area was that loud. I was there helping Vintage Breaks a lot, and they had great. There was no connection problems. There was never a time where they're like, we can't hear anything. I thought they did a decent job with the breakers area.
Yeah, the breaker pavilion at the Stevens Center, it's kind of set off from the rest of the floor. So,
yep.
I was, and PSA was in that same area, and like I said, I was over at PSA talking to some folks, and there were times when that main stage got pretty loud, and there was a lot of things going on. It was hard to hear. I'd be like getting right up to next to somebody talking in their ear, because they couldn't hear what I was saying, so it was that loud.
Yeah.
You had some of the guys. Shoot, if you put them on the floor though, shoot, Tops has the loudest microphone in that place.
They do.
I don't know how they get that audio so loud, but my God, just loud.
So we have a question. Oh, you wanna, Drew?
What?
Were you about to say something?
No, I was saying. Okay. Yeah, Ziggy, audio was challenging at the National, especially for the live setup. For anyone who was able to watch it, we should have. Still waiting on the email from the people at the National with the main stage video. So we should have the video and the audio from the main stage that'll be sent separately that they recorded. That's got all of our actual microphones as opposed to a camera. So as soon as we do get that audio, we will have it up. We do have the live episode up right now. Let's see here. Thoughts on the Sasha T video where he blocks out the F1 purchase price? Other channels exposed was $25K. No, have not gotten a chance to see it yet.
25,000 for what though?
Yeah, that's what I was.
What's he buying? F1 heard.
I hadn't seen anything about it. But yeah. So DR asks, why do the vendors make you all wait for things with the VIP package? Why not just a goodie bag at check-in? Now, I didn't get the VIP pass this year just because we had like the media stuff and everything. But Logan, you said you did. How did they do it this year? Because in the past, that's how they did it. Like 2 years ago, you got a goodie bag.
Well, yeah, you got a goodie bag, and there were some goodies in that already. But then there were also the redemptions you had to go to. I think there was one for Panini you had to go to, and Wild Card, I think, was the other one, if I remember correctly. Yeah. But other than that, you got all your goodies in there. I got a pack of Topps cards right there. This was the Panini redemption right here. So there, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. You got a breaker mat. There were some other goodies in there. I thought it was worth it.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why some companies give you redemption cards that you have to go to their booth is that they want you to go to their booth.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, obviously it's to drive people there. I just didn't know. I didn't see too many. That was the first I'd seen of those cards. So that's pretty cool. I did not see anything. Okay, it was Lewis Hamilton Purple Sapphire BGS 9. Okay.
All right.
Cool. Well, like I said, F1, 25 grand. Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was that same card that Val and I saw that had a $50K price tag on it.
Right.
Could have been.
Hey, his 1 million Cubs project said he sold all his VIP freebies for $350 total. That's awesome.
Dang, way to go, Bo.
Yeah, that's awesome right there, man.
I let my autograph tickets go to waste, so could have gotten $350 for it. Who knew?
I know. Same here, man. Had no idea. But you mentioned a company that I actually didn't know. I guess I just missed it or ignored it, but I wasn't aware that they were really doing too much with Wildcard. And I got a chance to go to that booth, and it's pretty cool. But it's actually the original owner of Wildcard and his son that have started this company back up again. I don't know if you guys remember the Wildcard from the 90s, but I loved them. I thought they were awesome. They were fun, kind of gaudy to look at later. A couple of decades passed. Some designs questionable, but they were interesting. What did you guys think about with Wildcard coming back? Did you get a chance to see some of the stuff they've got?
Yeah, Val and I were there. We kind of talked to those guys for a little bit. They've got a lot of big ideas. I just hope they can follow through with everything that they're going to do. If they do, it's going to be really cool, I think. They've got they had a lot of promotions going on. They had like a black box and a white box. And if you bought, I forget what you had to buy something to get this box, and you got an additional like hobby box. They had a lot of promotions going on, and they were busy. So I thought it was pretty good.
For me, it would be curious to see over the next 18 to 24 months whether or not the hobby can sustain another unlicensed draft pick company like Wildcard, because that's essentially what they are.
Yeah.
Sure.
They're doing the Leaf model.
Yeah, they're same with. I mean, they're a much smaller company, but Onyx does the same thing. I went to their VIP event this year. They showed some of their new stuff that they've got coming, and it looks pretty awesome. Yeah, we was walking around most of the time, Clint. On the floor most of the time that week. That's why the feet hurt so bad still, I think. My God, I wish they'd move it to a place with carpet. That's all I want. It's carpet.
Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of carpet, Tops had the best carpet of the whole facility. It felt good.
Always bring that carpet. So
with that really nice padding.
Yep. Oh yeah, it was that's one place that I always make sure. That was one thing I would do is if I'm walking the floor, I would strategically look for carpet to walk on. I don't know about you.
Mm-hmm.
First day, especially.
That one area near the Tops booth that's carpeted.
Yeah.
Now that didn't always used to be open. I think maybe
I call it the
opened
little
up
cubby.
6 years ago. They opened that wing up, but
sure,
carpet, not padded carpet, but it's still carpet.
Yeah. Hey, anything helps when you're walking along those lines.
Yes.
So one thing to before we wrap everything up, guys, we had one question I thought was a great way to end this, since we did talk about the National most of today. But if you only had one day at the National, how would you spend your time? I think that's a great question for someone that may not have been there, but how would you spend it if you had one day to do everything?
Well, you can't do it in one day.
Exactly.
No.
It's impossible.
Whatever it is that you're interested in, you're going to be able to find it at the National.
Yeah.
The thing is, can you find it in one day?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking for dollar box cards, there's no shortage of that. You're knock yourself out. But if you're looking for, it's funny, on Wednesday, I was in the VIP line to get in, and I ran into a collector who collects 19th century women's sports cards. Yeah, I know, kind of a interesting. But if you only have one day, you're probably not gonna find those.
No.
You might find it if you go for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, if it's me, that's what I tell everybody. If you're going short, then come with a plan, come with a list. I've always said to people, don't assume that everything that a dealer has is on their table on display, especially nowadays. There's a lot of these guys who have those cases packed with $20,000 cards, but then had thousands of boxes of 10 to 20 to
Look
$100
under the
cards.
tables.
Yep. So, I mean, but you can't do it all in one day. I mean, especially if you're trying to hit all the companies, if you actually want to talk to them and everything. But, that was the nice thing. Let's see, it was first time.
The National is one of those things that even if it's only one time in your life, you have to go for all 5 days and experience it. Get a VIP pass and just go.
Yeah, well, you just can't do it in one day. But if I did have one day, I would probably spend part of that day trying to find cards, bigger cards I was looking for. But then I would spend a good part of it hooking up with friends and meeting people that I just can't do in real life normally. So I would try to maximize that as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly what made it my favorite national out of all of these was just the amount of people I got to see. And I guess without having it last year, how long it had been since I'd gotten to see some of these people, that's what I'm spending my time. I'm not spending my time if I have one day in lines. I'll tell you that much. I'll grab some of the free stuff. I'll go check your booth out, see what you got, get some free shirts and stuff, whatever it is that you're doing. But I'm coming with an agenda, and just if you're only going for one day, be focused. That's all I got to say. But because you need all 5.
Well, the enormity of that show, Val and I, our strategy is the first few days is we literally go to every table and ask them if they have any NASCAR. And of course, you can run through that pretty quick, but that still took us a day and a half, almost 2 days to just do that, to hit every table. Of course, we got stopped by people and talked to people, but overall it took like about a day and a half. So you really can't get in, get through the whole show.
I think Joe
in one day.
Sums it up great. I think Joe sums it up great. He was like, if you're there for one day, I can totally understand how it feels like a manic museum to somebody. If you're there for one day trying to fill it all in, fit the entire national into one day, it's going to be insane for you. It's when you get those 5 days that you actually can spread out and get to attack the areas of the show. Just the enormity is just that one day isn't enough anymore.
Well, we went around and asked people about NASCAR, and there were still things that we saw people pick up that we missed and that we never saw. And we were there from Tuesday. We got there Tuesday morning all the way through, Sunday afternoon. So we were there a long time, and it was, you're going to miss stuff no matter what. I mean, I don't care how much you try, you're going to miss something, and you're going to miss something probably that's really going to haunt you that you wish you could have saw it. If you had seen it, you'd have bought it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, y'all. Well, it is 12 o'clock, so I guess we're going to wrap up this edition of Hobby Hotline. Before we go, Logan, Chris, anything you guys got going on? Anything else for today?
I will say this. A lot of people give out stickers, and this is the best sticker that I picked up.
I got one.
Go, Jeremy.
I didn't get mine.
Oh, I'll send you one, Chris. I got a couple of them.
I'll probably run into him in Toronto later this year. So
there you go. All right, y'all. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. Make sure to check out, of course, we are also on all of the Spotify and all of those places to listen to podcasts if you like just the audio version. And as always, we will be back next week with episode 81. So thank you guys so much. Happy National Baseball Card Day. And y'all have a good one. See you.
See ya.
Yeah.